Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I have another great video for you today. Today is all about butterflies. So this butterfly bow is one of my best sellers at flea markets, craft fairs, and even selling them online. And they're super simple to make. All you need is your embroidery machine and everything is done in the hoop. Other than the assembly process. So, disclaimer, some assembly required. Alrighty, so this design is available on my website, and it is available in a few different variations. And this also, you can get it in a miniature size that is absolutely adorable for little pigtails. So what we are going to need for this, obviously we're going to need our embroidery machine and you're going to need the design. Like I said, the design is available on my website for purchase. So we're going to need our hoop. Obviously this is our 4x4 hoop. We're going to need 2 pieces of tearaway stabilizer. We're going to need a piece of our sticky stabilizer, and we're going to need our vinyl, faux leather, whatever you would like to call it. Or if you want, you can stitch these out on felt just as easy, but I do think they look a lot prettier with some shimmery vinyl and a patterned vinyl. Now, I like to take and stitch my, what I would consider the bow tails. I like to stitch those out on a plain colored piece of vinyl, and then use the bow center here, or the bow loops, whichever you would like to call it. I like to stitch those out in a pattern. So that's why we have two different things going on here. So we've got our shimmery vinyl that I absolutely adore. I buy this on Amazon. The links to this are in my bio. So you are more than welcome to follow that link and get yourself some of this nice shiny holographic vinyl. It comes in so many different colors, like just so many colors, and they're all amazing. And then we're going to use this little patterned piece here just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. And you will also need a alligator clip. I use this 1 3/4 clip here, but you can use a 2-inch clip. You can use whatever clip you'd like. And then of course you will also need a glue gun to assemble. So to start off, this will be a multi-hoop process. So you will have to hoop 2 different times, but that's okay because they stitch out really, really quick. Unless if you have a larger machine, if you have a bigger hooped machine, then the files do come with multiple groupings. But for your 4x4 machine, since that's what we like to focus on my channel, is all the fun things you can do with a 4x4, you will have to do multi-hoopings. Alrighty, so let's just get started over here real quick. So of course, you need your design, and you need your coordinating threads, which that is not a coordinating thread. We are going to use, I think pink will look best on that. So I always like to stitch out, I like to do all of my stitching in one color. That way it's just easier. I don't have to worry about changing thread colors and all that stuff. So I think we're going to use this one. It's just a little bit darker. So yeah, I think this will work great. And as always, you guys, you know that I love sim thread and new bra thread threads. You get so many different colors in a box, and I have very rarely had any troubles with them. The only troubles that I have had with them have actually been my own fault. So I can honestly say that I've never had trouble with these threads. So we are going to start off with our placement stitch. And if you know, you know. You know that my placement stitches are always gray. On the machine, they're always going to be in gray. That way you know it's a placement stitch. But why would we want to change threads? We're not going to. We're just going to, I always use whatever is the next color here. That way I don't have to change threads. Makes it easier on everybody, right? So we're going to run our placement stitch, and as always we are going to hold our tail out to cut down on any kind of nesting that can happen in the process of anything. And this is very straightforward. Again, our felt piece on the back is going to be a coordinating color of sorts. This was the closest I had to anything that would match this, but that's okay because you're really not going to see it anyway. So, my machine has a little hiccup, which is okay. I think my automatic cutting blade is dull. Okay, so to make our bow center, we do it in one step. That's it, one step. So I like to start off with putting my backing on first because our stabilizer is thin enough that we can see through it. I know you can barely see that on the camera, but you can see through it. So we get it all lined up, and then we get everything clicked into place. Find our tail here, and now we can take our piece of vinyl here and fit it over everything here. Easy peasy. We're going to hold our tail again. Give it a little snip. Super simple. So the center part of our bow is done. And all we're going to do, we're just going to take that out of the loop here, and we're going to put that off to the side for a second. So now we're going to go back through all of our mess here, because you can't just go back, you know, one step. You have to go all the way back to the freaking beginning. And now we're going to find our bow, and we are going to get our hoop ready again. And again, I have my hoop screw set here to where I don't mess with it at all. It just takes care of the wear and tear on it, because as you all know, if you unscrew, tighten, unscrew a lot, it's going to end up wearing the little washers out on the inside. So which even still after that, your hoop is still totally usable. I just put a rubber band or a hair tie around it, and it still works just as well. Again, these are just little things that I do. You do you, boo-boo. I'm not gonna, just don't come at me. Don't come at me, bro. So now, since we are using our holographic vinyl here that is really kind of thin and flimsy, we are going to be using this piece of sticky stabilizer on the back of it, and that's going to make it nice and sturdy. So where it was real flimsy before, this is another one of the colors. This green is absolutely gorgeous. It's nice and stable now, and that's going to help with those satin stitches that we are going to be putting in this puppy. Alright, so again, we need to run our placement stitch. And then of course, my machine likes to tear things up, but that's okay. That is totally that is a cutting problem. I think my cutting blade is dull, but we are just going to trim all of those little strings on the back so we don't have any problems. Okie doke. So, see, not everything is always perfect, but that's okay, because we can still work with this. It'll be fine. So, of course, we are going to just lay our piece here right and over all of those outline stitches, and we are going to start stitching. Alrighty, so now, as always, we all know that I like to make sure that my jump stitches are trimmed before we start another step, just because we don't want them getting tangled up, we don't want them getting caught, we don't want them getting stitched over. Not that that is actually going to happen, but it is a good habit. It's a good habit to form. Just after every color change, you just take your hoop off and just inspect. That's what I do. I just inspect. Alrighty, so now we are going to stitch our outline. We have one little outline here that we're going to stitch, and then we will be ready to close everything up. Done here. Make sure we grab our stitch there from the beginning, and there's what we look like so far. So now we are on to the last step, where we are going to cover our stitches and we're going to stitch out the centerpiece of our bow. Make sure we get everything nice and lined up. Slid on to the machine. Whoops, let's not cut that yet. There we go. Okay, now we are done. So we are going to move this out of the way. We're going to cut our jump stitches, trim anything up if it still needs to be trimmed. And there's the back, there's the front. So here we go. And we'll just pop this off. Okay, so now we've got our top, we've got our tails, and then we have our centerpiece. So we're just going to start by tearing away our stabilizer. And I have a trash can separated here, so we recycle our paper pieces, because it's all this is just paper. And so we're going to cut this out. I cut my bow centers out just a little bit differently than what some people do, I think. I do everything different than what some people do. So we're going to sit down here for this. Just because. Okay. So my scissors that I use here, and I talk about these scissors in every video just because, you know, I don't know who sees what, and that's fine. So these scissors are just a regular pair of household scissors. You don't need an expensive pair of super duper sharp scissors to cut your projects out with. For me, it's all about comfort. You know, we have this bone here in our thumb, and if I have a pair of scissors that sits on top of that bone, I cannot use them. This pair of scissors fits right up against it, right before it, doesn't touch it, and I love them. I do keep these sharp though. They're just a pair of household scissors that I sharpen. I have a sharpener. I have my husband sharpen them because he does a better job than I do. I mean, I can sharpen them, but he does a way better job. So I always start here on the, I always start right here on this side right here, because I will just cut straight and leave this piece here because I still use that piece. I don't necessarily cut that piece off. And then just keeping a nice little pressure to it when I cut. With my left hand, since I'm right-handed, I kind of pull out on the piece that I'm holding here. I don't know, it just kind of gives it a bit of a pressure, and then I like pull and turn. And then I open my scissors as wide as I can, because the more times you have to stop, the more like little jumps and bumps you get, because you know sometimes it's kind of hard to line things up correctly again, but it's okay. So then I just cut that part off. And then go back over here and do the same thing again. All the while we are leaving plenty of room around our stitches here, so we are not going to cut through them. And that also, you know, adds a little bit of fullness to the design of the bow center. Because I do realize that it looks kind of small, but it's really not once everything gets put together. To adjust myself here for just a second. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my glue gun on so it can be heating up for whenever we need it. And we will come back to that in a second. Okay. Alrighty, so now we just tore our tearaway stabilizer off. The sticky stabilizer is also a tearaway stabilizer, so you can tear it off. You can leave it on there if you want. You don't have to tear it off. I prefer to tear it off just because I don't want all the sticky, gunky crap building up on my scissors. Okay, so this is totally optional at this point. You know, you can cut your jump stitch now, or you can cut it when you're cutting everything out. It doesn't really matter. So again, because I am a total creature of habit, I come through here and I just cut this part off first, because I'm weird that way. And then this one is super simple to cut. It's just a bunch of lines. And we put that off to the side. And now we are going to cut out our butterfly. I always, when I'm cutting something, I always, you know, have to analyze it, because sometimes it's what angle you want to come in at. Are you going to be able to, because where you start is where you're going to stop, so you want to be able to make those lines match if at all possible. So sometimes taking a look at it to see what angle you're going to start cutting at is typically the best. there's the back side of our bow. So now we are done with scissors. We don't need those anymore, but we still will need those. Oh no, we do need scissors. Whoops. Okay, so we left our pieces here a little long, right? So I always take and fold it in half, and I match up my my stitches right here on the outer edge where you would normally cut. I match those up, and then I just give a little trim just to make sure that those pieces are even. And so now we are going to dab a little glue. And just like if you were cutting, doing these bows on a Cricut or whatnot, if you know how to put those kind of bows together, you just put a touch of glue and then fold inwards. I don't fold all the way in. I kind of go to that outside edge there because your bow center is already small. So you want to give it as much width as you possibly can, and by leaving that little gap like that, you give it a little bit extra. And that is why I leave those little pieces there, because that just adds to the width of your bow center. But of course, you know, that's just the way I do it. You can do whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. It's your bow. But also, this right here, when these two stack together, it helps to elevate your bow center here. So where this one here, it looks more three-dimensional like that than if it was not. I don't have an example in here to show of the what not to do. But yeah. And when I am making these, and I'm making a lot of these, I will take like a clothespin or whatever and put on the centerpiece here to hold everything down nice and tight until the glue has time to dry. And that is why we put felt on the back of this. Felt loves hot glue. It just sucks up that hot glue and it just bonds wonderfully. So now I am just going to put a dot in the middle there, and now we're going to line everything up. Get my glue strings off of there. We're going to line it up and we're going to press down. And then for our centerpiece there, that makes everything come together, I just put another little dot. And that may have been too much of a dot, but that's okay. Careful and don't burn yourself. Make sure, you know, you wipe away any glue pieces or anything like that. You don't want it showing. And then you just fold it around. This actually does not need to meet and overlap in the center. I like mine to just kind of sit there. For whatever reason, it just kind of looks better that way. But before I do that, since we've already got this piece here glued in the center, we're going to put our clip in. And that's why I don't, they just kind of meet in the center, is because of the clip. So we've got our piece of felt here, and then, you know, in between our top layer and our bottom layer, we have our stabilizer. So we're going to take a small pair of scissors or whatnot, and we'll just line up our clip here, make sure that it's centered. And what I like to do you can also do this before you glue everything together is typically the best way to do that. Sometimes the cart comes before the horse, right? So we're going to center it, and then where this right here, where you would pinch and it would open, we're going to fold back, and we're going to cut a little slit right where that kind of stops, begins, whatever you would like to call it, because this piece of your clip here is not going to be inside your bow. So now we're going to just take and make sure that our center is wide enough, and I like using these clips because they fit right in between here perfectly, and then we just slide it in. You can do this with this piece here being glued down, but sometimes the glue will go through your felt and it will glue everything down, and then you have a hard time getting that piece in. So we fit perfectly in there, nice and centered. Now I will come and right here, I will put a dot of glue right there just to hold everything together. Turn my glue gun back on because it timed out on me. So now we've got that glued down, and your hair clip isn't going to come out. Give it a nice little press down so we're all nice and in there. Okay, so now we're not coming out and we're good. So now we need to finish gluing these little guys here down, which it's just a little dot, a little dot, and then your little clip, your clip will actually hold those down so they can set into place. And there you go. You've got a cute little three-dimensional butterfly bow. You can, the great thing about using the paper stabilizers, I mean, you can even do this with your other stabilizer too. You can take and you can get a pen or pencil. If your finger is small enough, you can stick it up in there and kind of work that around and form it so where, you know, this side is kind of smashed down and flat. You can see the difference. This side is smashed down and kind of flat, and then this side over here is shaped. So you just stick it in there and shape it just like that. And now your bow is nice and three-dimensional, and your felt on the inside, it does kind of matter, but then again it kind of doesn't, because you're not really seeing it unless, you know, you're looking at it. But and there we have it. We have a nice little butterfly bow. And as I said earlier, this bow does come in several different styles. So you have our satin filled, where the little inside of the butterfly is filled with a satin stitch. This one here is just an outline stitch. This outline pattern is perfect if you want to reverse your layers and have a pattern on the back, and then have your bow center be a glitter or a sparkle or whatever. And then of course they also come in the miniature sizes too. So there's your mini size, and then here's your regular size. So, like, aren't those just stinking adorable? And these are the cutest little clips. I think you can still use this size of a clip on these. I actually would recommend going down a size in clip, but they're so stinking cute. And if for whatever reason your hair bow does get a little flat, all you got to do is just kind of work it around and it's not going to be flat anymore. So I hope you enjoyed this video today, where we made these cute butterflies. I love this bow style. My dog is scratching at the door. He wants in. But I love this bow. It's so cute. They're a perfect addition to any little hairstyle and all that jazz. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to support my channel in any way, you can always buy me a Dr. Pepper. The link for that is in my link tree on my profile page. I'll also link it in the description below and all that good stuff. All of my social media links will be there as well as the links to where I get my holographic vinyl, the links for my snips, the links for the stabilizers that I use, and the links for my thread. So I will see everybody again really soon for another video. And if you do make any of these cute little butterfly bows, tag me on Instagram, tag me on Facebook, join my Facebook group, share it to the group, let them see what all you've done. If you need help, feel free to reach out. I am always next to my phone. I can always grab it and take a look at your question and respond back in a timely manner. So I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I will see everybody again really soon. Bye!